Welcome back to It's My Project, and I will cry if I want to. I'm back with the Drott 85 RM2 carry deck crane. I've got the valve body put back together. I still have to put a couple fittings on it, but I got that pretty much back together. I've got some hoses, suction hoses, and pressure lines. These are for the front outriggers, and some other odds and ends. I got new clamps for my suction lines, a couple other small suction lines that are going to go on. So today, hopefully, I'm going to get all that installed. I still need to put the drive shaft that goes to the hydraulic pump back on too. And if I can get all that done, I'm going to hopefully be able to get this thing started and adjust those cables for the controls that go to this valve body and check that everything's working and get everything adjusted right and bleed out the air. I'm going to put all new hydraulic oil in this. So I've got 15 gallons of hydraulic oil. I think it's only about 12-gallon tank or something, but so I got 15 gallons of that. I am feeling a little under the weather today, but it's a glorious day out, so I'm hoping to get some of that done. Hopefully I can get it all done. I have a feeling I'm just going to kind of chunk through it though, and show you as I get things done, just kind of update you along the way. But hopefully it's pretty entertaining, and maybe you learn something and we get this thing running again. So the first thing I'm planning to do is replace this suction hose here. That goes from the tank straight to the pump, and then also this smaller suction line right over here, which is coming back to the tank. Basically these are both just here, I think, so that you can work on things like you can disconnect this hard line and be able to take the whole tank down, or for this one it's so that you can get to the filter like I got out of this and replaced. You can pull this filter housing out by disconnecting that. So I'm gonna get those new suction lines on there and the new clamps on, and I'll see you then. All right, step one completed. Got my two suction lines on. This one's really like a return line, I believe, but it's just like suction hose, not pressure hose with clamps. Got my new clamps on there, looks pretty good. This one I may have to loosen and spin this hard line because it attaches over at the valve body and it may not be angled quite right, but other than that, that part's done. The next thing I'm gonna do is get this valve body ready to put back up. And I'm probably gonna have to go look back through some of my videos actually or something to see exactly how this goes, so I can get an idea of where these fittings need to be before I put them back up. But I'm hoping to put, these two T fittings and this longer fitting back on, and I'm pretty sure this goes here. I mean, I'm almost certain, but just to get an idea of, at what angle and everything it goes. Same with these, I'm pretty sure they go there because that's where they would fit, but at what angle they need to be and everything. Try and get an idea of that and get it back on. Even if it's not perfect, I'd like to get them back on before I hang this up, because I think it'll be a little easier. And then if I have to adjust them a little bit down there, I can. I've got my bolts to hang that back up, and my spacers, these go actually above it. There's one stuck down there still. Also, right now I'm probably going to try and put this hose on. So this is the other hose here that's going to get replaced. Clamps on both ends. It goes up to a line on this other valve body, I believe, and it actually just popped off when I was working down here. I accidentally put a little pressure against it and it came down. I think it's a little too short to clamp on properly, and it's amazing it didn't leak way worse before. But I've got a little bit longer piece and I've got the new clamps, so I'm going to try and get that replaced before I even try and get that valve body back up there. I'll have some more room to work. So that'll probably be the first thing, and then like I said, I'm going to get those fittings right on that valve body and get that valve body hung back up. It just goes straight up there. You can see that's one of the bolts goes right there. So I'm going to get that hung back up there. Another bolt goes there and then there. So we'll get that all back up there and then I'll see you then. I did get this new non-pressure line on here, but I unfortunately got the wrong size hose clamp, so I had to reuse the old ones. Should be fine. If I have any problems, obviously I'll replace them, but I would have liked to put some of these, T-style, T-bolt style clamps on like I did for the other ones. But like I said, I got the wrong size. That was my mistake. For some reason I thought this was the same as one of those other lines, but it's only inch diameter ID, so oh well, that will work for today. That means next is basically getting this valve body hung back up so I can start to attach all these hoses and lines to it. Alright, so I think I've got this pretty well, as good as I can, as close to what it was for now. I may have to snug this up once I get this thing mounted. It's a little hard to hold on to everything, and then this may get straightened out a little bit as well at that time. But other than that, I got my 2 long T's on, and I got this on, and I tightened this down because it was loose. While I was doing that, got a little bit of a thunderstorm came through, cooled things off a little bit, so that's nice. Now I can go ahead and hang this up underneath, and I'll catch you then. Okay, little update time. The valve body is in and all of the lines are hooked up. You guys can just imagine how much fun this was probably. I really hope nothing leaks. Obviously I can tighten things up more if it does leak, but you know, the worry is some of these fittings on this valve body are basically inaccessible unless you take other fittings off. So once I have fluid in it, it's going to be a pain if I have to go back in and take anything off just to be able to tighten another fitting. Might have to get creative if I do need to tighten fittings on how I can tighten them without removing other lines, but I'm sure that is a big contributor to why some of these fittings were bent and messed up. I did end up straightening out this piece of hard line here that comes down as like an extended T. It was a bit bent, and I also had to manipulate this one because it went into that long T that had been bent and was funky. So obviously to get it to line up right with a straight T like it's supposed to be, I had to manipulate that a little bit, but other than that it went fairly smooth. Still a bit of a pain in the butt. So the next thing I'm going to work on is putting on this drive shaft. It goes between the hydraulic pump and the crankshaft of the motor. I still need to pump a couple pumps of grease into this fitting and this grease fitting, which is part of why I had it off in the first place. And then there is a grease fitting still on a universal joint down there right at the crankshaft. So I'll have to grease that as well. Actually, I think the fitting's missing and it's just a spot 4 fitting, but I'll figure that out and get it greased. So the drive shaft is in and greased. As far as the fittings on the pump and they're leaking, I think I'm gonna end up just having to run it and see more exactly where it's leaking if I can. I don't even have the wrenches to be able to get on this right now, so I would have maybe tried to just snug it up, but since I don't even have the wrenches, I think I'll just wait on that for right now, and we'll try and see exactly where it's leaking. Like if it's leaking, you know, here at the actual hydraulic fitting there, you know, that might just snug up. If it's leaking all the way on the pipe fitting, that pipe fitting will probably have to come all the way out to fix that leak, and I'll probably have to smear some stuff on it. So we'll just see where that is leaking once we get this all running again. So guys, unfortunately, like usual, I didn't quite get as far along as I was hoping. I'm gonna have to just clean up and call it a night here. I actually got further along than I was kind of anticipating tonight, seeing as I wasn't feeling very good, but tomorrow this video will come out, so I'm not gonna have time to do anything more before then. I did not get the cables adjusted and hooked up, but otherwise the valve body is completely back on and the drive shaft is back on. So I'm gonna need to fill it with hydraulic fluid and get those cables hooked up and adjusted next. So hopefully in the next video you'll see that, and that'll be kind of interesting actually to see how those cables adjust and if I'm able to get all the play out of there and get things moving really well or not. I'm hoping that I can get those levers really responsive and have a lot of control over the movement. So if you guys enjoyed watching this video, you know, go ahead, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, share with your friends, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.